Part 2 of 22nd of November 2023. Readings from my journal entries that I post up on Vocal Media. So we continue on with the reading about me discovering Susie van der Kwast, my former boss and friend, had died back in, what year was that? 2018, I think it was. (22nd of November 2018). So her spirit coming to me in the dream, letting me know she had passed. She was the second spirit that had come to me to say goodbye. Others had, I suppose, over the years, but the most cathartic and disturbing and a little bit astonishing was the David Davidson entity when he died, coming to me 3 weeks after his death in early June 2016. And then here we have 2.5 years later, Susie van der Kwast coming to me in a dream to let me know she'd passed. So I began to realise that I was indeed psychic, but not just psychic, but I have powerful bonds with friends and former lovers, and I guess family too, that they feel the need to say goodbye to me as they transition their bodies, or within weeks of transitioning their bodies. It is a deep honour, actually. It's a beautiful thing and a deep honour, but can be a bit alarming if you haven't known that they've passed on, as was the case with Susie. I had no idea she'd passed. So, I'd had no idea that David Davidson had passed either. He was much younger. He was only 63 when he passed. So really only 5 years older than I am now. But I don't know what he passed with, but he was a heavy smoker too, so I presume it would have been his lungs giving out as well. So, but again, I don't know, and what does it matter now after all these years? Just idle curiosity on my part. So we continue with that story. Another funny memory. My mother Gisela sent our family friend Graham into Susie's coffee lounge to pick me up from work one time, to bring me back to his and his wife Nanette's place for a family barbecue. He was much older than I and had always been a bit sleazy, and I had always had ambivalent feelings to him, as he was great friends with my paedophile godfather, Trevor Singh, which was how Graham came to be a close member of our family, as he met Trevor while gambling, and he became, honestly, labriot. He became rather obsessed with my narcopath mother. Between the sneezing and the coughing and the choking, what a life, man. But he actually, I'll add into the story, it's not written up here. Graham used to tell the story that he had fallen in love with my mother when he was a schoolboy, still in school uniform at the age of 16, 17. And he used to catch the tram to and from school, And my mother in those days, this was it was before I was born. I was born in 65. So it would have been in the late 50s, early 60s. My mother was a tram conductress. And my mother, being German and therefore very exotic to New Zealand boys and men, and my mother being very extroverted and narcopathic and bit of a femme fatale. I mean, she didn't have to try. All she had to do was show up, and men would just go, it was embarrassing during my childhood. Many times we'd be standing outside a department store waiting to cross at the lights, and men would just go gravitate to us. And many times I would find my little self saying, "Get away from my mummy, get away from my mummy." So it was fucking creepy what used to happen. But it's partly not really all my mother's fault. But she dressed very elegantly and smartly, and always had her hair nice and makeup, and was always very, "Hello, darling." She called everyone darling or sweetheart or, honey, but usually darling. And was very effusive and outgoing, and so people were literally drawn to her charisma and her animal magnetism, So Graham used to say to me, "Oh, your mother," he said, "I was so in love with your mother. All the boys from Rarotonga College that caught that tram, on that tram route, were mad for your mother." He said, "Oh, she inspired many, 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 many socks." And I'd be like, "Oh, get away from me, freak," But he said he was so in love with her. And then later on, when he met her through Trevor Singh, he was just thrilled to bits, because it was almost like being able to hang out with a celebrity in a way. Well, not that my mother was a celebrity, but she had that kind of charisma and that aura about her. So did Susie. Susie had a huge, massive charisma. But Susie was a kettle of a different fish. Let's just put it that way. You'll find out. That's why to this day I still love Susie. Even though she sometimes could be a right bollocking bitch to me, there was a real respect between us. So my friend Rosalind and I nicknamed Graham Hans. We nicknamed him that when we were only 13 and 12 respectively, right? He really wasn't appropriate. As he often tried to affectionately run his hands across our young bodies. So I instructed her firmly to never be alone with him and to not allow contact, myself accustomed to sexual abuse from family members. So I was very protective of Rosalind. Anyway, Graham had just missed me leaving work. I had already caught the bus home. When he picked me, but he picked me up from home and drove me to his place in Miramar, where Mum and Nanette were waiting. He tells us that he feels a tad violated and sexually harassed. I giggle mischievously. "What happened, Graham?" "Well," he says, "I go to the coffee shop and Susie sees me and I ask for Tanya. She looks him up and down, a very characteristic European habit, and settles her eyes for several minutes on his crotch. Shamelessly, taking the measure of the man. Finally, she says, "Who might you be?" He stammers, a friend of the family." "What do you want with Tanya?" "Gisela asked me to pick her up for a barbecue." Graham said he felt like a very naughty schoolboy and felt her eyes boring into his package. I'm sure he embellished that bit, people. I think that was a slight exaggeration on his part. Like, jousting sticks, $25, tell him he's dreaming, right? But then it is Susie, and she was marvellous. Susie drags on a cigarette and stares at him. "She's not here. You can go now." I fell on the floor laughing. My Susie had completely eviscerated him, and oh, how I needed a woman in my life to do that to the creeps in my family. I ate the barbecue in smug satisfaction. I finally had a hero in my life who had my back. It was marvellous. So wherever you are, Susie van der Kwast, for that one highlight of your entire lifetime, I love you and I bless you forever, because it was rare during my childhood and adolescence that anyone ever had my back. Very fucking rare. 22nd of November 2015, 2:44 p.m. Almost home. Alcide has been the perfect Pomeranian. He ate some turkey mince, played with his new toy that Mama Bev gave him. He let me know when he needed to wee. I put his puppy pad on the floor at my feet and he whistled happily. He snuggled the rest of the trip, which was hampered by roadworks. Soon he will arrive at Sacred Space and meet the rest of the animal gang. For now he's curled up in the crook of my arm, snoozing and making puppy, wheezy, snoring sounds. So gorgeous. And Jared and I had fallen instantly, madly in love with this cute little puppy. It was adorable. The love that just bloomed in both our souls for this little dog. 11:07 a.m. Just leaving Gympie with Alcide. He is loving his new car. He is enjoying Pomeranian mania on the road trip to Brisbania. He is rather impressed with his new mama and Uncle Jared. 22nd of November 2014, Lana, that evil fucking bitch. But this is when we were on reasonably good terms, you know, early on in what I thought was a friendship, right? Oh boy, have I been misguided by people over the years. Terribly, terribly misguided by psychopaths. So is it any wonder that I have a hair trigger last nerve now? On the cold face. Lana told me some old guy said that I look like Carl Malden's sister. So I googled him, as I knew he had a funny nose. Turns out he was a Serbian American, and apart from his wider schnoz, yes, we do look alike. Same Slavic face shape. I've never been told this before. I don't know whether to be insulted or delighted. Mind you, he was a brilliant actor and good looking, so I will choose delighted. 4:45 a.m. It's all how you spin it, people. You can spin it either way, but either way it lands, make sure you flip the script so you come out looking a little bit less, distraught and decimated by dogs. 4:45 a.m. Home safe, showered in bed with spasming feet. I took a painkiller, but no relief. I am glad to be home. I had a nice night dancing at the casino. About 1ish, Lana came and joined me. We had fun. I was already in pain and thinking about going home when she arrived. I got home at 1:11 a.m. There is the 11 again. I have let the chooks out. Mischief greeted the dawn with his crowing. Sweet little rooster. Time to schluff, that means sleep. Good morning and good night. Weather's all over the show today. 12th of November 2012. 22nd of November 2012. I had to shut Hecate Hen in the chook tractor as she harassed the young chicks so much and was stealing their baby food. After several attempts to take her away and distract her by keeping her with me in the other part of the garden where I was pruning. So on dusk, I was busy outside my fence line, weaving the passion fruit vines and tendrils into the fence. I observed Elvira, the new black hen, hovering around, looking a tad distressed as she could not gain entrance to her coop as I had shut the door. So I decided to hurry up finishing what I was doing and go and open the doorway for the other two hens, Elvira and Tabitha, to go to roost. As I hurried up the path to do just that, I noticed an odd shape high up in the frangipani tree. I looked up and sure enough, poor Tabitha had had no patience, as Elvira had done, and had flown up into the tree and was roosting in the branches. It took a bit of doing to get her out, and fortunately the frangipani branch was weak, so she sort of fell out when it snapped, and I grabbed her and ran with her to the chook tractor to put her to bed. Then I realised I was still missing Elvira, the black hen, so I went back to the frangipani by now in darkness, trying to see if she was up there too. I had just decided I would need a torch to spotlight her when I noticed on my way to the back door to get the torch that Elvira was walking from the back garden to the tractor. She had realised I was trying to get her safely to bed. So then I had to chase her around a bit, open the doorway and shut her safely in as well. I can't risk leaving them out ever again after what happened to Lilith and Morgana. Tabitha Chook, who seems the most frightened and stupid of the new ones, turned out to have a few survival skills after all, choosing a tree to roost in, high up off the ground. I am impressed, but she is better off sleeping in the chicken tractor at night with her sisters. Still not well, slept all day till 3 p.m, then spent the last few hours of daylight pottering in the garden and playing with the chooks, dog and cats. I wonder if I will ever feel semi-normal again. My hand is not healing well, all a bit of a drain really. I am looking forward to going to Christian's 30th birthday bash tomorrow night. I will have to rest another day to summon up enough energy to enjoy it all. November 22nd, 2011. I am loving Sons of Anarchy too. More inspiration for me to buy my own Harley Davidson and start my own club, lol. Well, start my own nightclub. I've given up on the dream of owning a motorcycle since I don't know how to ride one and it costs a fortune to have lessons. And It cost a fortune to buy a bike, and I think I'm too old now. I've given up on that dream at long last. But having my own nightclub would be freaking awesome. I'll never give up on that dream. It's just a little fantasy tucked away in the back of my head. Could happen one day. Someday my prince could come too. Oh, don't make me laugh. Stop. Oh, stop it. I slept until 3 p.m. today. Then I collected my mail and saw my water lily seeds had arrived. So I dug out clay for the small pond so I can grow my water lilies in it. Bella kept throwing her ball into the muddy water as I was smushing the clay between my hands, so we both got covered in mud. Even her tongue was coated in mud, lol. So then she got a bath and I had a shower. 22nd of November 2010. I was just psyching up to dig a huge hole to plant my beautiful weeper when it started pouring with rain. I guess it can wait, lol. 22nd of November 2009. Jared and Harvey at Wynnum Beach. Here's my two favourite boys. My friend Jared and his beautiful dog Harvey. Harvey is in Valhalla with Beauregard. And me with Bella. And Bella is in Valhalla with Beauregard. That was before I got my two front teeth done. Look how terrible I looked. Oh, and I look so ill. I look so ill and depressed there too. I was depressed and very badly depressed in those days. 2009, when was it? November. Well, it was, Mum died on 7th of March 2010. So, yeah, I was carrying lots of burdens. I was visiting my evil, vicious fucking mother, who at that stage of life was not capable of being evil or vicious anymore because she was gaga with the Alzheimer's. And I tell you what, going there every week, trying to eke out her spirit, even draw out the evil spirit nestled inside her, try and get a flicker of recognition out of her, was very painful. But every now and then I'd crack a joke to her or remind her of little anecdotes like stories about Graham or Susie or other people we knew. Drop little anecdotes, and you'd see her, like, you'd see this light flicker back in her eyes, like her spirit was still in there, but it was lost in this morass of mush that is Alzheimer's. And so I was really struggling in those days. Really, you can see it in my eyes. I just look utterly bereft, really. But I loved that little doggy, my little doggess goddess, I used to call her. She was a gorgeous little dog. And I lost her in 2013, or was it 12? I think it was 2013. I forget now. Anyway, thus concludes the offerings and readings of the 22nd of November 2023. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed some of that. I enjoyed the reminder that the spirits that loved me in earthly incarnation, that have come to bid me goodbye after they have transitioned. I've enjoyed that reminder that people that really loved you on some level, I mean, David Davidson didn't love me, he was a fucking monster, but on some level he had to pay me honour before he passed over, because he just couldn't leave without that last goodbye, right? So I'm a powerful spirit, and you know, my connections to people if well-intentioned, at least from my side of the relationship, are powerful and form a kind of a spiritual bond that even death cannot break. And that was a hard lesson to learn, that I must withhold my energies, my spiritual energies, because some people are not worthy of my light or my mana, and demonstrated over the decades, over and over again, only to end up haunting me when they died. Because he would have, with the full gnosis and knowledge that one gains when one transitions one's physical form, he would have seen the power and the calibre of my love, and that I had actually been authentic and genuine the entire time. So he would have come up against that. And so in a way it was a gift to remind me of whom I am as a woman, as a spirit, as a Jew, as a shaman, as a witch, in this 3D reality and this space-time continuum that I'm sharing with 8 billion other souls alive on this planet at this point in time. So never underestimate your own spirit and the love that you pour into people, even if unrequited for decades, causing lots of heartache and suffering, is never wasted. It merely gets transmuted and alchemized into something powerful and beautiful, and one day it will come home to you. The right person in the right time will light up for you and bring you joy and recognition and honour and peace and truest, deepest, most noble love, and maybe even a bit of passion and romance occasionally. Could happen. It could happen. But, one day, maybe in the next dimension, the right soul will find me. The right soul meant for me, brought to me by the Holy One in all manifestations, because I don't want any false men ever again. I'm done. So there is that. Anyway, have a beautiful day. Looks like we're going to get some rain again. It came up all sunny and lovely, and now it's looking like it might drizzle. I might run out and try and get some washing off the line. Hopefully some of it might be a bit dry. If not, I'm going to have to hang it inside, because this drizzling annoyance is going to go on for a while, I think. And so on that note, on drizzling annoyances that go on for too long, have a beautiful day. God's bless. Love to you all, people. Stay safe, stay happy, stay free, stay in love with your true beloveds. Bye for now.